is it's all about risk, and I work in industrial manufacturing, and I help, not me personally, but we help keep manufacturing running basically. And I always remember we had like a forum where we invited loads of customers to come along, and we had a guy from the nuclear industry, and we had a guy from, I don't know if you know, but Brompton Bikes.
Yes,
you know these fold-away bikes, you see them
yeah.
on the train. Well, the owner and inventor was there as well, and we'd invite them to come along and talk. But we had the guy from the nuclear industry and we had the guy from Brompton Bikes on the stage at the same time. Now, the nuclear industry guy, purchasing, has a very different approach to risk than the Brompton Bikes guy.
Yes.
Yeah. And for all the right reasons, nuclear industry will not take any risk in terms of maintaining a nuclear power station. Yeah. But where they get it wrong is there are areas of a nuclear power station where there's no risk.
Mm.
Brompton Bicycle guy, he told us this story that they'd just brought in a container of 500,000 jackets. And he had this really weird jacket on during the presentation. And then all of a sudden, he started to undo poppers and buttons all over it. And literally, he was pulling out fluorescent flashes and material all over this. And he said, the reason why we bought these is because you can look smart, but then when you get on your bike, leaving the restaurant or the pub, you can undo these poppers and all these fluorescent bits came out.
Yeah.
But long story short, they'd ordered these from China, which doesn't have a great reputation for manufacturing. And they'd ordered, 250,000 of them. But they'd come in and they were all the wrong size. Yeah? Mm. Now, you'd be gutted.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he said, there's no way I'll be able to get them changed. It just doesn't work like that with China. But his point, and the nuclear guy was there, his point is, look, we knew there was a risk. We decided that risk was acceptable to us before we placed the order. And we already knew that if it went pear, it wasn't the end of the world. Mm. And then they had quite an argument around risk, as you can imagine.
Yes. But
that's always stuck with me. And I think that coming back to a round the world trip, just think about what the risk is. And in reality, even more so, less so now than when I went, it's very minimal. What's going to go wrong? What's going to go wrong? So just think about the risk. And if you can justify the risk, there's no reason not to do it.
I think that's a beautiful place to go with that.
That's how I look at it.
I have to say, I think it's an interesting point to make on that as well. As I would argue, it's sort of, I think in life you have to make a balance, or you have to, more specifically, you have to choose what you would rather regret. You'd have to choose what you can look back on and go, do you know what? Because you can't do everything. Yeah. You can't have both. And I think it's more important to look and go, would I want to get into my later years and think, I didn't do that? What if I did that? I can't imagine, even having this conversation with you, all of the times where that time you spent away has been called back into action and sort of defined you as a character, brought you to be who you are. Yeah. To lose that and to not have that in place of something else, particularly when so often the thing that stops people from making what is a big decision is fear. Mm. It's the fear of doing it. How much did that play into when you went away? Was there any part of you that thought, oh God, this is a big decision for me?
Honestly, no.
You were tired and you wanted to go.
I knew I needed to do something different. Yeah. And don't forget, at the time, I had quite a serious girlfriend at the time as well, and that was the only thing that sort of tugged on me a little bit. If she'd turned around to me and said, "I don't want you to go," I might not have gone. Mm. But all credit to her. There was no problem in the relationship. All credit to her. She didn't actually.
Yeah, that's quite surprising.
She never said that to me. And in a weird way, I think I might have been hoping she did.
Yeah.
But she didn't. So that was the only thing that could have stopped me, if I'm honest. That was the only thing that could have stopped me.
And you touched there, say you sort of, there was a part of you that sort of hoped that she would stop you.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
What do you think that is?
I don't know. I wouldn't say I was fearful of the trip. I wasn't fearful of the trip. Maybe it was a bit of, I was being a bit dismissive of the risk, which actually there wasn't any.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm thinking to myself, actually, something could go wrong here. I need someone to tell me not to do it.
Yeah.
Thank God she didn't. But I wasn't fearful in any way. And that's the other thing I would say is, even if you are fearful, when my dad dropped me off at the airport, I mean, and my girlfriend did actually, they're in bits. I'm in bits.
Yeah.
I remember I was in a mess walking up to immigration. And then the moment I went through security and I could see them, but it's really weird, it just lifted. Because then the adrenaline takes over and the excitement.
Yes, you start looking at it from the positive
So
side.
it's going to do it, and walking up to that precipice is bloody scary. And it is, your bottle goes. But once you're in it, you're away.